Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind podcast. Today's podcast, episode number 208. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Mondays with Mello, and today I'm talking about my fulfillment and joy. And in a nutshell, it's really my fulfillment and joy coming from doing what I love every day. And part of that is, giving you guys this podcast because the podcast is about you guys, it's not about me. I just share my experiences and hopefully you guys can relate. And every day I find myself much happier and full of joy. The reason why is I get to do what I love, and it's to create content. And even though I still have my full-time job, it's not too stressful, and I work 4 days a week. An extra day off from work helps me to relax my body, and it also allows me to get more work done. So I count my blessings. I work 35 hours a week, and Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I work 9 hours, and Thursday I work 8 hours. I've been able to have this schedule for over 6 years, and I honestly feel like I could never go back to working 5 days a week. I think about that sometimes, and I know that the work that I'm doing is in regards to my writing, my podcast, and all of that. It's fun for me, and even though I haven't walked away from the full-time job yet, I know in my mind that at some point that's gonna happen. I just don't know when, but I will say that I have more fulfillment in having 3 days off and being able to do what I need to do. Plus, I live in the West Coast, and I get to, be outside and the outdoors more, and I get to, bike ride and play basketball and go to the gym and do a myriad of things that I couldn't do when I was living on the East Coast. East Coast weather, uh, you know, November, December, January, February, even March and April, it's cold and you can't be outdoors the way you'd like. I mean, you can, but you're going to freeze your butt off. But anyway, as time has gone on, I've learned that whenever I complete a major project, I feel a sense of fulfillment. And with each book I finish writing, there's fulfillment, but also excitement. And when I finish a podcast, I finish writing, a blog, or when I complete an audiobook, it's all the good feelings and vibes that I get. I have, written so many books, and so many. I have the EPUB that turned, that's the ebook version of it, and the PDFs or the paperbacks, and I record my own audiobooks and things like that. That's all the content that it's okay. Well, that's stuff for content to be bought and consumed, but then there's also the free content, which is the blogs and the podcast and getting to know me and who I am and my journey and why I do the things that I do. And like I said, sadly, I didn't get to write this stuff and a lot of this content in my 20s, but like I have said in my podcast on I Wasted My 20s, I would not have been able to write a lot of the content that I am doing right now. Part of it is because I had to grow, go through life, experience things, immerse myself in people's stories and what's going on around me, and absorb a lot of content and what's going on around the world. I had to experience a lot of things for myself, and now I get to write these stories so we can have these conversations about all of the social issues that are going on in the world. And I probably won't even touch on every single social issue that's going on in the world. I try to write as many books as possible about things, and boy, do I have plenty of books in mind that are ideas based off of content that I watch on TV, and I can spin it and loop it for something else and make it a story that can make other people, make you guys think about certain things that I see about the world. That's why I have so much fulfillment when I do write my books. And this year, in 2023, I'm publishing another 12 books. One book a month, 26 of each month. It's about the inner cities of America. It doesn't touch on every single subject, but The good thing is that I have another book series that I will be writing in the future that will touch on a lot of other stuff that goes on in inner cities. So sometimes you can't, immerse yourself and put every single thing into a book series of what's going on in inner cities, of America. You got to take a step back and, say, okay, I can't talk about that yet, but I know that I can talk about it down the road. So just things of that nature. And that is the joy that I feel when I start saying, okay, this is where this is going. This is the direction I'm going with this. So that's the fun that I'm having. And sometimes in life, we forget to enjoy our journey and feel the joy in our hearts when we accomplish the small things. And that's something that I'm trying to push you guys to do a little bit more. Enjoy the little feats. Currently, I'm working on small projects that are going to elevate me, for the near future. Right now, like, I'm in the process of creating box sets of my book series for pretty much the majority of my book series that I've written. Sometimes buying the books singularly is good, but then sometimes people just want the whole box set and just want to read the whole series all in one shot. And I'm in the process of creating that, and I'll be finished with that pretty soon. And it's putting all that together. So that's good for me. That's going to go onto my PayHip, site where I have my audiobooks. So I'm just being smart and diligent with a lot of different things. Because my books aren't on Amazon anymore, I could do a book series and post it there and things of that nature. But, I'm not going back to Amazon until they change a lot of their policies. But anyway, but like I said, we've got to enjoy our journey a lot more. And we do get caught up in the big goals we want to accomplish. And we forget to enjoy and embrace the small things. And I'm trying to do that a lot more. And, I've been guilty of thinking about the bigger stuff. And now I'm appreciating the journey way more. And I'm taking more time to be in the moment. I am also focusing on being happier with every aspect of what I'm doing. A lot of things are arduous and tedious. I do record a large amount of my podcasts at one time. I'll do 3 at a time sometimes. Sometimes I'm doing 3 to 6, in a day. So it all depends. I pre-record all my podcasts ahead of time. It's kind of to stay ahead so I can focus on other projects. The beauty of all of this is my podcasts are between about 10 to about 14 minutes, give or take. I'm not recording long podcasts, like an hour long, like a lot of my other friends. So they only really can sit and do that in one day. For me, I would like to be able to spread my stuff out, spread out my content, and, give you guys shorter versions of my podcast. It takes a lot to sit and listen to a podcast for an hour, whether you're watching it on YouTube, listening to it on Spotify, Apple, whatever platforms that you use, Google, things of that nature. I like to be quick, easy, simple, and know that you guys are going to get at least 30 minutes, 25 to 35 minutes of content a week. You guys can absorb it, do what you feel, and kind of go from there. I will say that my fulfillment has now become a regular thing instead of occasionally. In the past, I've been the occasional of, oh, I'm happy, whatever. But now, with all of the content that I've created, I understand and value my happiness and joy. And I want to share my thoughts, on this because I want you all to be fulfilled in your purpose and your passion daily. And no matter what you choose to do, please find the joy in your heart and know that you're impacting people and changing their lives. And don't lose focus on how far you've come and how many small things you accomplished that lead you to accomplishing the bigger things. Find what fulfills you and brings you joy. And when you get those things, the sky's the limit and no one can really stop you. All of the small things lead to accomplishing the big thing. So all of the small things that I'm doing is, when I'm writing a book, if I'm writing an 18 chapter book, if I'm writing 3 chapters a day, I can write a book in in 6 days, right? It all depends, so those small little feats of writing a chapter or two a day, that helps me to get to where I want to be, right? So this year, think about, okay, you have big goals. Okay, great. Let's just say, for an example, you have 5 big goals this year, right? Look at those 5 big goals and ask yourself, what are the small things that I need to do to accomplish these 5 big goals? And under those big goals, write down or jot down in your notes on your phone, whatever, those small little things that you need to do in order to accomplish that big goal, right? So last year, I know that I wanted to write a 12-book series and have 12 books for this year, right? So I know I have to start that ahead of time. So I spent last summer writing all of my books, right? And then I edited a few, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to focus on my podcast. So I spent time on the podcast and figuring out content and planning things and things of that nature. And then, once the end of 2022 happened, I spent the last month of 2022 finishing up and editing the rest of those books. Now my 12 books are pretty much ready for this year. I just got to look at the paperbacks and, all that stuff. And then once I do that, I'm good to go, right? So then there's that. And then it's staying consistent with my podcast. I did fall off a few weeks at the end of 2022 because of various things, being sick, moving out of my apartment, all of that other stuff, right? So think about the small things that you need to do to get to the bigger, to finish that big goal. And that's how I try to focus on a lot of different things. Hopefully you guys have written down your goals. I don't do New Year's resolutions and all of that stuff. I feel like opportunities for us to grow and become better people is an everyday consistent process. And we have to, learn about ourselves on a daily basis. And it's not just the goals of, me writing and podcasts and this and that. I have a real smaller goals, which is enjoying this journey, being more fulfilled and having more joy in my heart in all of the little things that I'm doing. And, having more fun, taking a little bit more breaks when I really need to, when my body's getting burnt out. It's all the little things. It's being mentally, spiritually, and emotionally in tune with yourself, because you can easily go to the doctor, but the doctor's only checking on you physically, right? To make sure your body organs are good, your blood flow is good, nothing's out of sorts, right? And if your doctor checks on you mentally to make sure you're good mentally, you can lie about that. You can. I wouldn't advise you to do that, but, I'm honest with my doctor with, certain things that I deal with and go through, and she documents all of that stuff, right? I've had my doctor for, I would say, about 30 years. Give or take. Yeah, I would say close to 30 years. So yeah, I know what you guys thinking in your head. What's going to happen when she retires? I don't want to think about that right now. I really don't. But anyway, point is that my fulfillment and joy is just, it's great. I'm in a good headspace right now, especially to start this year. So I want you guys to think about what's your fulfillment and what's your joy. And with that said, that is my podcast for today. I thank you guys for listening. As always, have a good week. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.